Hi, friends.
Hey.
Hi. Family.
Family. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So, we had an amazing time doing these videos, did we not?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a really good time.
Awesome.
Right. So, yes, we did. Yes, we did. So now that we are not in character, do you feel comfortable sharing your first names with the teachers so that they can know who is speaking today, and also maybe just one reflection of how this experience was for you doing these videos? Why don't we start here?
Okay, my name is Yane, and during the time I was doing these videos, I really learned a lot when it comes to self-regulation and how I may feel or how I may react to a situation. It can transfer to the person who I'm having that situation with. So if I'm tense, they're tense, or maybe they may be afraid. So I learned a lot on how to effectively communicate, self-regulate, and just be, aware of how other people are feeling and take their emotions into account before jumping to assumptions or placing generalizations.
Beautiful. Okay. Thank you. Now let me ask you, did you have this skill set beforehand?
I knew of the skill set, but the biggest thing is the practicing it after. When I'm in those situations or I'm in those heated moments. I remember filming yesterday, and I went back home to my boyfriend, and we were having a miscommunication, and then he was like putting words in my mouth I didn't say. So I, took the practice. I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm resourceful, and I took my practices and used them during those situations.
Yes,
that's beautiful.
That is. Yes,
I celebrate you, sister, and thank you for your bravery and sharing that. Isn't it beautiful that when we're doing this type of work, right, it helps with the inner life work?
Yes, it is.
It really does.
Very useful.
Thank you for sharing that. And also what I heard you say was sometimes we realize that the intention doesn't match the impact, right? And that came up a lot during our videos, did it not?
Yeah.
And the reflect, honor, and connect, it sounds like you did some of that. And it sounds like you also grounded yourself as well,
the
right?
3-finger grounding, and it helped. It really did. And you can feel it, like we talked about, in your body. You can feel yourself calming down, being more,
Absolutely. Yeah. So our hope also is the teachers will also be able to, take the skill sets and not just use them with the youth that they're serving, but also for themselves.
Yes.
So thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Please.
My name is Celebrity. I was taken away by these techniques and skills because I am a mom. So I get very frustrated and easily, like, emotions and feelings are like everywhere instead of it being calm and happy. So the techniques that I learned, I never knew anything about. Especially the ones I like the most is this. I feel like I'm nurturing myself.
Yes.
It reminds me I am a mom, so it reminds me of what I need from a mom, and I can't get it from a mom, so I have to get it from myself.
Aww.
Sorry, I'm trying not to cry right now.
Oh my gosh!
But
No, I want to embrace.
it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I honestly think that this is going to help a lot of people. I don't want to stop doing it.
You don't have to.
Feel good.
I mean, would it be weird for the video if we were doing this?
Just doing this the whole time.
And you all don't see those in the studio. They're now. Right?
But
But I love what you said. I love what you said, and just how you even named the fact that I need this. This is going to help me to become a better mom, and it's going to also help. And you said it's going to help me to become a better mom, and you also said you can't get it from a mom, so you're doing it for yourself.
Yeah, like I can hug my daughter all day long.
Yeah.
She can't really hug me back yet because her orange is not white. But I want to feel that, like, even though like she puts her head on my chest, that does a lot for me.
Yes.
But it's also about, I forget to pat myself on the back a lot of times. I forget to hug myself. So this is just a reminder just hug yourself.
Yes. Yes.
It's
definitely.
okay.
Yes, definitely. And a total pause here. I think you all might have an acting career in you. I'm just saying, because y'all played those roles incredibly well.
Thank you.
So yeah, shout out to Mary for bringing us all in.
Yes.
Did you want to have anything else we can uplift or?
No, that was it.
Yeah.
I don't want to cry.
Oh.
I don't want to be emotional.
And you know, I've learned. I heard this quote, and it said that tears are the libations for the soul. Tears are libations from the soul. Yeah. And so libations are what we pour for our ancestors to give gratitude. So those tears are the gratitude for the soul. It's always all right to cry, friend.
Yes,
You're welcome.
it is.
Thank you for sharing. Yes.
My name is Jaleesa. This whole thing has been a great experience, actually. I was really able to take a lot from this. So I also have a son or a kid, and he has a lot of energy all the time. And even like our basic, so our filming yesterday was kind of just talking about transitioning, like literally just from one task to another. And if it's not a preferred task, there's always a really big reaction.
Right.
And I often have to walk away or flee on the fear cascade. Sometimes I have to flee and take a moment and just get myself together. So, because he matches my energy as well. So once he get up here and then I get up here and nothing, we're not, we're just fighting at that point.
Yes.
But also being able to recognize where he is on the fear cascade and finding a safer way, a more appropriate way to address him and his needs so we can get back to what's at hand. And one of the bigger things was like, just reminding him that there's going to be time to come back to whatever it is that he is doing instead. Yeah. And instead of using words like warning, like this is your 5-minute warning, this is your 10-minute warning, using reminder instead, because he may take reminder better than warning.
Yeah,
so just
warning could throw him offline, right?
Yes. So it was like just stuff like that I feel like I can actually incorporate into my parenting, and because we've been working, me and my son, we've been working on like prevention and intervention stuff since he was 3. He's 10 now. And we're just trying to move forward. And a lot of this stuff I can like actually use. And it's like, this is like free therapy. like it's family therapy. So I'm parenting in here. So that was like, it's been a great experience though. So
I love when the
very helpful.
Exactly. I love when the work intersects and spills over to other areas of our lives.
Yes.
And thank you. And one of the things I loved that you said was that you were able to identify where he was on the fear cascade. That's so compassionate of you and patient of you. So kudos.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
My name's Sapphire, and well, yesterday I got to focus a little more on like my own situations, like because I'm the oldest out of 7 kids, well 8 including me. So, and they're little and they get on my nerves, and you just want to like boom, like that one thing that like they're just sitting in the chair and the other one just randomly like punches the other one off of the chair and then like it's like nothing happened. It's
I think reflect on her and connect will work
Yeah.
better than that.
That's why I like this, because
we're reflecting on her and connecting rather than punching out, right?
it's just like what goes through my mind, like do.
But it sounds like these were helpful for you. Yeah.
I also like being around all of you, and that's why I joined Youth Advisory Board.
Yes.
Wait, hold on. I don't think that they know out there. So Sapphire, why don't you tell our friends what we all actually have in common? Because I don't think that they know.
Well, we are all youth that have been in foster care. Well, they were in it. I'm still in it, even though I'm about to get adopted. Well, the adoption date hasn't been set, but the PC was granted, so
Yes.
Congratulations.
And once I get adopted, I can get a snake. See how my plan connects all the way back to snakes?
I love that so much. So one of the things that I'd like to uplift as well, Sapphire, is how you named that I do have these siblings, and I noticed you didn't call them foster siblings. You called them siblings. You've embraced them as your family. I also noticed that you didn't say that you punched. You said the thought has gone through your mind,
Yeah.
but you didn't do it. And I'm also really, really happy for you that you're going to get adopted. You are an amazing
Yes,
person, and
you
you'll
are.
make a fine daughter. You make a
Yeah.
fine daughter.
Yes.
But I also want to uplift that you said we all lived in foster care, or I live in foster care. You didn't call us former foster youth, and you didn't call yourself a foster child. Can you tell our friends out there why it's important for us to not call youth that live in foster care foster children?
Because it's putting a label on us, and once you're labeled, it's hard to get unlabeled. It's like the halo and horn effect.
Yes.
Once you're labeled as a bad kid, it's hard to actually get out of there and show that you're not.
Exactly.
And I feel like it's important not to label us as foster kids, because a lot of people don't know what that is. And they're just like, oh, so you're adopted. Does that mean your family died? Because a lot of times, especially like kids are like, adoption, that means you don't have a family. And that's not the truth, because I always have had a family, and I always will. My family is whoever I choose to be my family.
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
Okay, I love
Yes.
They are my family.
Yes, we
and
are. Oh my gosh, my heart's so
all
full.
of my friends out there are my family,
Yes.
and it's wrong to put labels on people.
Thank you for sharing that. And one of the things I'd like to share with you all and with us is that when we flip the letters of wrong around, it can also spell grown. So for those of you out there that have been using this language, as Sapphire says, it feels very wrong, and please be encouraged to know that it's an opportunity to grow. And right? And children will rise to the occasion of who you make them believe they are and who you make them believe they're not. So if you're putting a label on them and your intention is just to, well, they're in foster care, so they're a foster child, it doesn't match the what? The impact. And the impact is that it then creates an othering type of feeling, and that label can be very harmful to the child that you're serving. And I wanted to ask what you all's reflections are about that, just switching the language to person first language.
Me personally, I didn't even actually really even take a thought of that and the effects that it comes with. Because at the end of the day, words are spells. What you say, hear, think seeks to become true. So when I'm hearing all these adjectives put in front of you or in front of me, it makes me think like, dang, it would be better just to be called a youth or a sister or a brother or a child. I remember being in my placement, I was called that foster kid. When I would go to school with my siblings, who were my foster siblings, they'd be like, oh, that's your sister? They'd be like, no, that's just my foster kid. That's just a foster kid. And it really spoke to what Sapphire said about how the family, how she spoke about they just assume you don't have a family. That was the main thing I dealt with in school. Like, oh, your parents don't love you. Oh, your mom don't love you. No, they just couldn't support me. They just couldn't help me grow. It doesn't mean that they don't love me. So I like how she said, I always had a family and I always will have a family. So I feel like I would love to kind of get rid of the harsh labels, because what she said, once you get labeled, it's hard to get away from that label. And a lot of people who have negative connotations when they hear foster child or adoption or any of those words. So I really love to not be able to just put that or attach that to our name, because we are more than that.
And it does start with us and having these conversations, and when we're in these spaces, gently offering other language for people to use. And so we are very thankful also, again, to have been able to do these videos, because it does allow us to introduce new concepts, tools, strategies, and ideas to help others be able to serve our youth better and serve themselves. Thank you for sharing that with you, Warren.
I would like to just add that And when you pointed out taking foster youth from the actual youth, it makes sense. I've been alienated most of my childhood and teenhood, so because I was the foster youth.
Yeah.
So when you're around, say for instance, me in high school, I was in a group of kids in high school, and I went to a behavior school. That's it at first. So we all were like connected because we had behavioral issues. But when I told everybody that I was a foster child or I was in foster care, pretty much it just like I was tired and everything just slowly pushed away from me and I was just alone. I was like, why? Then, come to find out, I've asked my teachers, asked caseworkers, and a lot of people don't know about foster care, excuse me, the foster care system, or anything like that. They don't know, like how you said, like adoption or things like that. They don't know what comes behind it, and they don't know how it actually make you feel. We already going to the fact that we have to depend on state versus actual person.
Right. And you know what that brings up for me is it makes me think about if we are in the office and and I'm going to use this language, foster parent is picking us up and there are other kids that might overhear, I'm picking up my foster child, or, you know, that's my foster mom. I didn't want people to know that I was in foster care, you know, and so it's us having these type of conversations allows people to think a bit deeper and to make certain that their intention is matching their impact. And I want to salute you both for sharing and for your bravery. And we did talk about this offline a bit. You know, sometimes people call us strong and resilient. And while it is well-meaning, it doesn't always feel the best because what people don't know is how tired we are and how much it takes to be strong.
All the time.
And you're forced to be it.
Yes, that's the part. When does the strong people get a chance to not have to be strong? When can we lay down and look up to somebody else to help? Oh no, you're strong. You can do it. Mm-hmm. No, I don't care how many accomplishments
I'm tired of fighting.
How many things I still need help. That's the biggest thing too.
Yeah.
Just to be treated regular as like a person in a non-foster care family. You are solely with your family. You have your mom, your dad, your grandmother, whoever. You have all of that. Yeah. We want to be able to be treated like that. We want to still get the same treatment versus me being related to you by blood or just me being presented to you through a passion that you have.
Exactly.
So it's like, because most foster parents do have passion to give back, and some foster parents are alumni foster care youth.
Sure. Thank you. And I just wanted to say that when we're saying we're talking on behalf of all youth that live in foster care. Okay, so thank you so very much for naming that as well. And friend, I'd love to hear from you.
Yes. So I really like the idea of taking out the foster youth part as well and taking a more, person-first approach. Because kind of like what they said, it's just everybody don't understand what that means and what it looked like, and they're able to paint their own narrative of it for you. And so for me, I actually was always in foster homes with, I was always with Caucasian families. And we was actually in a town where we were literally like the only African-American kids in there. So not only were we like the only African-American kids, but now we're the only foster kids. And so we already stood out like sore thumbs. And now it's like, oh, let's add foster kids to that. So we got so many stigmas just thrown at us. And that's the way you start to be. That's what you start to think. Why am I trying so hard to become something and be something different and show everybody that I'm better than this or I'm better than that, when everybody's mind is made up? It's just like, why even try? Why bother? And that those actions that you go through and you like as youth trying to process through all of that and just kind of live and keep going, all the mistakes you've made, all that growing that you had to do in that home, it starts to follow you around from home to home, from placement to placement. Yes. And it creates a whole nother effect. So then it's like, well, now you're this, this, and that. Well, now that's the reason why you can't get placed with a decent family. That's why you can't get into a certain group home. So it starts to affect your placement, and then that really, like, you internalize all of that.
And that file is shared at school often.
Yes, it is. Your teachers have access to that. The principals have access to that. now you're a
Everybody.
runaway. Now you're this, you're that, and you're
Goes
not
back
just.
to what she say? Labels.
Yes, it's just it starts with that one, and then everyone else creates their own narrative behind it, and then it snowballs. So I think removing that and just being youth that's experienced foster care, youth that are in foster care, because we are not foster care. We're people that experienced it. So
Thank you for that.
I would like to add to her.
Yes.
When she said it snowballed, and once you get labeled more than once and it just keeps getting put on, it's kind of like it just hits you. And then it's like layers of the ocean. The deeper you go, the harder it is to come back up. And the deeper you go, the more you just succumb. I know a lot of kids at my schools, they would just assume that I don't have a family, and like nobody cared to get to know me, and they would just, be like, oh yeah, oh no, that's the foster girl. No, she's adopted. You don't have a family. Your mother didn't want you. And it didn't really affect me as much as it used to, because once you get used to something, it's just there, and it's easier to smile and act like everything's okay and not let people know that you're struggling than to open up. Because once you open up, all of that water, the water that's built up inside of you, pours out like a flood.
There's
And
those
sometimes
tears, don't they? Sometimes
just
it's
want-
tears, sometimes it's behaviors when it pours out, right?
And sometimes you have to open up the floodgates.
And sometimes you're forced to, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you just can't.
You can't
And
keep it in.
it's like if you, I went scuba diving, and they told us when you're down there and you come back up, you don't want to come up too fast. Because if you come up too fast and you hold your breath, then your lungs explode. And it's kind of like that. You're not ready to come up. And then you're not ready, and you're just pushed. And then everything just comes apart. And it just explodes. And you just explode.
Yeah.
And it's to the point where you can't be like, I'm okay anymore. And you have to let people see that you're not okay. And there are some people where you're like, it's okay to be okay around them. And then there's others where you just smile and wave and it's like, I'm fine.
everything's fine.
Totally fine, like Mirabelle, or isn't that the girl off the Canterville?
Yeah,
I'm fine.
I'm totally
fine.
fine.
I'm not fine. I'm not fine.
Girl, yes.
If I may, I would like to share a couple things. One, you are an amazing speaker.
Yes.
Thank you.
I can imagine that if you ever considered, I don't know if you do write poetry.
I do, actually.
What you just said sounded to me like a beautiful spoken word poem. And I also wanted to say that I recognize how brave you are to be able to even share that. And also for our educators out there are many sapphires in their classrooms who are, I'm fine, and then they're not fine. And then you're seeing their behavior, and we are getting sometimes caught up in the behaviors and not in Sapphire's needs or the students' needs, right? And I know that for educators, sometimes it's like they're trying to serve so many youth and trying to keep the classroom safe. And it's not that they don't want to serve us, it is that they can be overwhelmed. And so having these tools and strategies really allows you all to be able to reach out for added supports if you need it, and also to be able to implement these strategies so that you can help when a child has gone, I'm going to use this language, offline, or when their behaviors are not optimal. And that leads me to this. we had a skit where Sapphire, you were the student and I was the counselor and you were the teacher. And one of the things that stood out for me is that Sapphire, her character named that she got hungry, which made her hangry, and also that she had lots of bursts of energy. And what that made me think about is that sometimes we see a child's behavior and it might be, I'm going to use this language, unruly, and we're not realizing that, is that kiddo hungry? Are they tired? Are they creative? Or do they not know how to ground their energy? So when we were able to work through this together and I was able to teach her liftoff and landing, that was an awesome moment to show you all that you can also teach your students how to empower themselves and have these tools and techniques as well. And I wanted to ask you all, was there a portion of the skits that you were doing where it stood out to you and a light bulb went off and you're like, hey, I'm going to use this, or hey, that's helpful?
All of it.
All of it?
Same.
For me, anyways, all of it.
It was really all.
Yeah.
It was really all.
Yeah.
I think it was when me and Yane worked together, and when Yane was like, I don't think it's an accident. She did it on purpose. Well, why would she run away if she didn't do it on purpose? Why wouldn't she just tell me that? And, it's hard. It's hard to be like, well, sorry, and face people. And it's hard to face the truth sometimes. Or it's hard to own up because people, if you get in trouble a lot and you get punished harshly, then it's hard for you to be like, oh, well, sorry, I didn't mean to, because you're in the back of your mind, you're like, and people don't listen to you very often. Or they'll be like, well, it wasn't an accident. She didn't tell me it was an accident. She just ran away. Why wouldn't she just tell me that? And you're like, well, why didn't you try and talk to her?
Right.
Why didn't you go after her?
So in that skit, what did you learn?
Well, I think I learned that you can't just let them leave. You have to follow them.
Okay.
Because you never really know. And the fear cascade is a very cool thing and very resourceful thing. And I like it because it displays how people might have felt and how to change that. Because people might feel scared and they might submit. And it's easier to submit than to face it. And they need help to break out of their shell. Just like a hermit crab changes shells every so often, we need to learn how to as well. Because we're so used to staying in our little bubble, and we need to learn how to go into a new one.
Thank you so very much. So, what can we all share in closing with our friends out there? What would you like them to know in terms of serving youth that live in foster care and serving youth?
I would love to start this one really quickly.
Please.
Yes. So I'm going to say the biggest thing that educators could take from just serving youth in general is to assess the situation. When a kid comes in and you see that, I don't know, maybe they're just really hungry, and as mandated reporters, a lot of this starts with them. And if they could sit and have a conversation with Sapphire and her mom and see she just needs some resources to food, instead of immediately going to calling 241 Kids and open up a 241 Kids case, that is where a lot of that comes from. So if you could just take that time to really assess the situation, what needs does that family need? What resources do that family may need? How can we actually help them? Every case don't need to go right to 241 Kids. Right. And as mandated reporters, I think they need to know, how can they assess that situation to actually see if that family is getting what they need, instead of, maybe the mom is working 2 jobs and she's just doing the best that she can. Now she has even more on her plate, and it's just those resources could have been given to her prior to that. or even just like the youth that's just misbehaving, going through, talk to them, get to know them, see what their world is really like, see what's really going on in their world, and then see how you can help. But to just assume, to generalize, to just jump to worst case scenario, whether you're just, oh, they're just bad and you just write them off or whatever it is, like, just take the time to really assess the youth and everything they got going on, and see if there's a way you can help before throw them off the cliff.
Great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else like to share?
I agree. One thing I would want teachers and supporters to know to better support youth is to, I know, well, just not to have, like, I remember in school, they would give us Power Pack. And they would call us during school hours so everyone is able to know, our business. And they'll just take us out of class for meetings with our social workers. And then people like, who's that lady you walk with? Or we missed recess, or we missed lunch. So it's like not putting us in these situations where everybody can know our business. And it's kind of like singling us out, like, oh, okay, you don't have food at home, so you got to get Power Pack. Like, I used to feel so irritated getting called to get Power Pack. But I really knew I needed the food. But it was times I would throw it away. I don't need this. I don't want this, because I didn't want to get looked at as poor or poverty. Because those are some of the things that I got bullied for. So another thing I want teachers to know is, like, if a student comes to you and telling you you're getting bullied or they're getting picked on, do not go to the student and tell them that they are bullying you, because that is going to make them bully them worse.
Yes.
Like, I haven't really thought out exactly what I would like to happen, but for starters, I would just rather talk and sit with parents involved rather than y'all just going to the student, then telling them I'm the one who told y'all they was bullying me. So it just makes it worse for when I come back to school and when y'all not there. So just being attentive of that and some of the things that may go on that y'all may not see, like during recess and other things. So if I'm coming in down, if I'm coming in sad, just really paying attention to that and really just taking in how we may feel and just not letting other people know our business.
And to add to that, if we're coming in tired and our head is down on the desks, why are we tired?
Right.
So
Again, assess them needs.
assess the needs.
Evaluate.
Only thing I have to say is that each youth is different. I have a daughter, and I am learning that she is different from me, but so much similar. Me, like, we're genders, yes, of course. So, but like, each personality is different. You can't approach the same youth you just did with the same approach to another youth.
Mm-hmm.
Like, got to code switch a little bit. I'm not sure if that's should be the word I should say, but in order for you to feel both you and the youth, feel that you guys are connecting.
Meet them where they are.
Yes.
Meet them where they are.
It's not always about the youth. Like, we're doing our part. You gotta do your part. If you're asking us to meet you further, okay, we're gonna ask you to meet you further. And just it's all about understanding.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of one-sided understanding this. So that's why a lot of children who are labeled bad or get sent to in-school suspension, acting out, but 9 times out of 10, I guarantee you, they are holding emotions that they don't feel comfortable speaking about. They don't feel comfortable trusting somebody with the knowledge of, or they feel like it's going to break everything in their life down into pieces.
Girl, yes, you're a preacher.
So it's like, have companionship and understanding, and know when to pull that teacher card that you guys have. Because you pull it sometimes, but it don't be needed. It's like overboard. I know, because I was in high school and elementary. I also was one of those kids that had excessive behavior issues. Now I'm just a quiet person because I don't want I
don't want no trouble.
Yeah, I don't want no trouble.
But in peace.
It's just understand both sides.
Yes,
That's all.
I agree. And I also want to throw in there, knowing that we all don't have parents at home. I hated field trips. I hated the school book fair. I never got money for it. I never was able to participate in things that other students was able to participate. Oh, go home, your parents will help with your homework. Nobody helped me with my homework. Nobody showed me, what to do or how to do. So just being mindful when you have those events, say when you got to bring in snacks for the class. I remember not being able to bring in nothing for the class, and I was feeling like I couldn't contribute. So just being mindful of that, and how you had to bring in wipes, tissues, pencils, all that school supplies. I remember I played sports, and we were supposed to get a new pair of shoes, and my foster parent was like, why you need 2 pairs of shoes? I already got to buy you 1. So just being mindful of that we all don't have the same resources at home to be able, but we still want to be included in these activities.
Right.
I just wanted to throw that in there as well.
Thank
And
you.
I also wanted to throw in really quick that thank you for also sharing and opening up. And we'll get to Sapphire before we close out. But I just wanted to pause and say that those that live in foster care, or those that have lived in foster care, when we are asked to share our experience and to share our story, it can also be traumatizing for us.
Absolutely.
Because we are opening our hearts, and it is not easy. So I do want to say that, and I know the whole team agrees, thank you. And I know that all of our friends out there are grateful for you sharing your expertise, because it is not easy. Because what people don't know is that when we go out in the parking lot, some big feelings can come up because we've talked about memories. So we might just have to hug it out when we get off camera. But I do just want to say thank you very much for your bravery and for sharing. Yeah,
Me
sis,
too, girl.
I'm over here. If I start crying, these eyelashes are going to come over. Sapphire, why don't you bring us home, my friend? What would be our closing statement?
Well, I think what we've mostly covered is labels and how you look at us. And don't just look at us and see a person who you think needs pity, or you just need to go, oh, well, sorry. Because sometimes you need to look deeper. Because it's like a wound. It's always deeper than you think it is. And just like the pressure thing, if you throw a rock in an ocean, you never know how deep it goes. And so you should watch your words, because the words you say to us, they just go right down to our soul, and you really never know how deep that hits until they tell you.
Very true. I have a second grade teacher. I can still remember something that was said, and I'm very far past second grade. So, friends, thank you for everything. We want to also thank you, Mary.
Yes.
Thank you so very much, the team, for allowing us. Throwing up the hearts.
Big hearts.
Our friends and family out there, we appreciate all the work that you do. You're on the front lines every day.
Yes.
You are essential. You are appreciated immensely, and we're just really grateful. So I think we had a good time. What do y'all think?
Yes, we did.
Yeah.